Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of How Did This Get Booked? I, of course, am your host, Jake Manning, and I'm a veteran of the professional wrestling business for over a decade, and I've held every single job except selling popcorn. I'm joined, as always, by a man who starts every one of these podcasts on his phone.
I have to look up what we're talking about.
Oh, okay.
I like to look at the card as we go because I don't remember. I was trying to think of what the first match was and have zero recollection of the very first match. So.
Well, a man who has zero recollection, Zane Riley. Zane, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm here, man. I think I just looked up the wrong thing.
Clash of the Champions 31.
Oh, this is Clash of Champions 1.
Yeah,
I didn't watch Clash of the Champions 1. I watched 31.
We'll never discuss that on this podcast. We will.
I don't remember Mike Rotunda and Kevin Sullivan being there.
Yeah, definitely not there. But who is?
Hey, Jake, how you doing?
But who is here today? A man who is a part of the Three Timers Club, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Matt Barrentine. Matt, how are you doing today?
Pretty good, man. How are you?
Good. I appreciate you jumping on here again.
Absolutely. It's fun every time.
I think it's only appropriate because I was trying to figure out what comic I should have on, and then I'm like, well, I'm doing Matt's show that he runs at Vizart, which is the same place where I do my Joe Exploitation show. You run a show at Vizart as well.
Mr. B's Private Screenings 4000.
See, I always stumble over it. That's why I kicked it to you. I'm like, please say the name of your show because I stumble over it all the time.
Yeah.
People are like, because when I was telling people to show up this past Saturday for your show that I was on, once again, didn't even reference. I was just like, Saturday, Vizart, I'll be doing a comedy show, not like my show, but we'll check this show.
Yeah.
And we watched No Holds Barred.
Yep, which I had never seen before. I try not to watch the movies before we do them. And, boy, that was weird. I just think of him as Debo.
And that you should.
Any lines?
Did
he say words in that movie? I don't know. Zeus. All right, Zeus. Man, that was a fucking weird one.
I'm going to get you.
It was mostly growling noises, but I guess he did utter a few words.
And then there's that one time where he was like, got startled and he turned around and he was like, ah, and he gave like the 60s football card pose. Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
The middle linebacker pose, like, ah.
It just seemed like there was something wrong with him mentally, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't...
Well, there was something wrong with his eye. There was something wrong with his eye. That's the thing.
That guy's trying to Robert Gibson his way out of here. So what we should do is to have that movie for this podcast and bring...
Oh, no, we're never podcasting that movie because there are so many... That's why I'm so glad that we did it for his show because I've wanted to say stuff about it, but there are so many fucking podcasts about No Holds Barred.
But Matt had a lot of good shit he didn't get to get out because he was all,
I was making excuses for why I was not that funny on that show. I blame it on the Adderall. I took an Adderall thinking it would make me like faster, but it made me just like overthink everything and not say words.
That's all right.
I'm just trying to give him a redemption, but I mean, no, if we're just gonna say fuck him, that's cool too.
Well, not fuck him, fuck that movie. There's so many fucking podcasts. Because I thought about that. I thought about like, ooh, that'd be really fucking easy. What if we did No Holds Barred as an episode? I watched it with Matt. Did it show up
and
come back around?
Synergy.
Exactly, created synergy. But there are so many fucking podcasts on No Holds
There's
Barred.
this podcast, I don't know if you've heard of, called How Did This Get Made? They,
no, what is that about?
What's about? What? Paul
Are they ripping us off?
Yeah, Paul Shear discussing wrestling?
Which I was listening to the newest episode of Comedy Bang Bang today, and one of their guests, does a podcast called How Did This Get Played? And I was like, God damn it!
Oh, yeah. So that's how I don't feel bad that we're How Did This Get Booked? Yeah. So it's whatever. But what's not whatever are all the people that have left reviews on Apple Podcasts and Stitcher. Guys, thank you so much. I can't thank you enough. Even though I don't do it on next week's episode. I can't thank you enough on this particular podcast that I really do appreciate your reviews. It really does help, get people.
I know from listening to podcasts, it's apparently very good to get reviews. They talk about it all the time.
Fuck up about it.
It is very important. And then I listen to the other podcasts. Like, yeah, we just got our 1,000th review. I'm like, ooh, that is not where we're at right now.
We just got our 15th review.
Oh, we're better than that. We definitely have more than 10 Bell Pod. I know that much for sure.
Suck it.
So by a mile, we're doing far better on reviews than 10 Bell Pod, and that's all I ever want. And that's all I want you guys to continue to do is to continue to keep leaving reviews so that way Tempo Pod never catches up.
Yeah. Come at me, Alexander.
Yeah. So, but as I've said before many a times, if you leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Stitcher and you get into my DMs and give me your mailing address and your shirt size, I will give you a free How Did This Get Booked t-shirt. And that's how I know we haven't reached over 100, because I had 100 transfers.
All these shirts.
And I still have a shitload of How Did This Get Booked t-shirts that are available. And you don't have to pay for them. You can get them for free. You can get them for free by simply just leaving a review on Apple Podcasts or Stitcher. Just like on Stitcher, Keaton's, you're sitting atop of the most recent review on Stitcher. Now, Davinator70 was sitting on the top. Davinator70. He was dethroned by Sleaze or Cutthroat. And then Sleaze or Cutthroat was defunct by Smalls 704, which I'm guessing is our buddy Smalls, and Smalls actually made a request for an upcoming episode.
Oh, we'll do it. He did. You're right. He messaged me about
That 70 show with The Rock.
Yep.
So we're definitely going to do that probably in the next month or so. Definitely not the next episode, because we've already recorded the next episode, and we've got call forwards.
We traveled in time.
Yes.
We recorded that episode. We came back.
I heard you fucked up and you didn't thank anybody.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely did.
Oh man, definitely fucked up.
Oh, definitely fucked up. We're actually, just let you guys know. I apologize for everything I say the next episode. We got canceled on the next episode. We've already seen the future. It's happening.
That was a great teaser for next week.
Yeah, we get canceled. We get canceled.
Good subject matter. Awful things said.
I want to apologize for everything I said next week.
Not everything. Just the very beginning of the 24-minute mark. Yeah. Give or take, right in about the 20-minute mark.
About the Kobe parts, Oh
yeah, I didn't say that one. Yeah. I still got to say that joke off air.
You still got to talk about the Kobe thing.
Yeah, I made a very off-color joke that I will only repeat one other time, just because I brought it up. But I will never say this joke ever again. But it was a good joke, and it was fucking timed perfectly. It was fucking timed perfectly. So
I'm gonna record it for everyone, put it out there. I'll get this podcast canceled one way or another.
And that's okay.
I just want to apologize for what I'm going to do at the end of this podcast. As long as we're making future apologies.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm sorry now.
Well, before we make future apologies.
Pro-Trump diatribe.
Oh boy. Well, before we get in our time machine to go forward, we need to go backwards to Clash of the Champions 31 that took place on August 6, 1995 at Daytona Beach, Florida at the Ocean Center. Attendance for the show was 4,039 people. It took a rating of 3.5 on TBS when it was originally aired.
I always thought that was more people. They shot it well to make it look full, I guess.
That's what pro wrestling does well, is shooting it just appropriate, so looks like there's more people in the building than what there is. Yeah. Also, I think it's kind of a smaller venue. It's not obviously like a Greensboro Coliseum type situation that can hold 20,000. So I think it's a little.
Well, that became clear during a little skit we'll talk about later, that they didn't seem to have a lot of room to move around.
Yeah. So, we get an intro. I just have in my notes when they're introing one of the matches that will come up. It'd be like 5 men and a lady.
Yeah.
That's when they advertise it's 5 men and a lady. What's gonna happen? Like,
they teased that Dungeons of Doom thing right away.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, what is it? Because it looks like Legends of the Hidden Temple. It's like some foam rocks and shit. And I was like, is there an obstacle course in this? What's gonna happen?
Hulk Hogan's a silver monkey.
Speaking of silver monkeys, Michael Buffer's in the ring.
This could go real weird.
No, but I did it appropriate. We can make fun of Michael Buffer.
Yep. Back in time and apologize for this episode, last episode.
Yes. Our white tuxedo monkey, Michael Buffer, is out here doing the most over-the-top intros, almost kind of killing the pop of the intros of each one of the guys that come out. In match number 1, which consists of Ming and Kurosawa with
That's what it was.
Robert Colonel Parker versus Sting and Hawk.
The mighty Ming, his weight is unknown. It's like, what does that mean? But like, he just refuses to get on a scale. They're backstage, and he's like, no.
But followed up with him also disclaiming he was discovered as a bouncer. That's where I want my mythical Polynesian wrestler to come from. A club down the street where he was bouncing for $20 last night.
Is the idea that he's so Eastern and mysterious, like scales don't work around him or something? That's Western science. Yeah, there's. It's so bizarre. His weight is unknown. Like, it's a sport. There's like weight classes and shit.
It takes the legitimacy out of it when you're like, get on the scale so we can put you in another guy that's similar in weight, and you're like, nope. Okay, well, you're going to fight the guy anyways.
All right. Be the shout me if I say
I'd like to see Dana White do that. Be like, Conor McGregor going, yeah, I'm not getting on the scale. And he's just like, okay, well, you're going to fight him anyways. All right, go ahead.
Go ahead. Fuck. All these people are here.
Please? All right.
Fighting in the weight class unknown.
Oh, man, that'd be a real good addition. That'd be like the XFL of the UFC. XFC.
Or the X division of the UFC.
Yep, there we go.
There we go. No limits.
That's right. Butterbean's there.
There was the world famous Colonel Parker, which I was like, there is a world famous Colonel Parker. He was real mean to Elvis. He was like a bad manager. I don't know who the fuck you are, but I don't think you're that guy.
Yeah, I never thought about it. Like that would be what they're playing off of here.
It's got to be, right?
Yeah, it's definitely what they're doing. Like, and also like a little foghorn leghorn type
Southern
thing.
Man. But people from the South sweat a lot. Seem to be a real meme. Like all the Southern characters were just dripping with sweat the whole time.
And of course, coming out with minorities, with the possibility of like, I own these people, like just
it's very uncomfortable.
All of those things. Let's make that as uncomfortable as possible.
And then, of course, film director Akira Kurosawa showing his range.
Yeah,
you know,
he probably lit that whole
direct
show.
Rashomon and perform like that. It's amazing.
I loved his earlier work.
I mean, I believe it. I mean, we didn't see Kurosawa like before or since.
No,
I haven't really seen him that much. So.
He did his one run in wrestling, and he had to go back to film.
Yep. Exactly, but he probably would want to go back to film after wrestling Hawk in this match.
Shit!
What was wrong with Hawk?
He was so drunk,
flipped out at the end. That was great.
He's saving all of his acting ability till right then.
Yeah. Well, so it was him and Sting, right?
Yep.
Sting. I think I wouldn't recognize him without the makeup on. Like, I know him immediately, no matter what. That was a very 90s color he was wearing. The lime green, like, neon shit. And then, yeah, I thought it was sort of it felt like filler, the match. Mm-hmm. Even though it's the first it seems like you want the first match of your show to be a good one. But it really felt, it was short.
They took a different approach.
Yeah, I felt like this is nothing. Except when he started flipping out at the end. Like, he was doing like a baby temper tantrum for like a long time. It was real weird.
He's like, yes. So Hawk is like super drunk, right? Because like he's whenever like they're clotheslining him, he's like hardly selling it. He's got his like lip is just hanging like dumbfounded most of the time. Blows every fucking spot.
See, I thought that you heard something or heard some interview where they talk about Hawk was fucked up. Or...
Oh no, like he has to have been.
He did one of the worst like top rope jumps I've ever seen, where I think he literally hit the ground before he hit the guy. Like, he's gonna hop down.
Like top rope heart attack, where Sting was like, I'm not putting this motherfucker on my shoulders.
Yeah, I'm not doing that so you could fucking just like hop to the ground before you hit him. Like,
still managed to clothesline me somehow.
Yeah, clothesline me in the face. No, that's not happening today, boss. Sorry.
I couldn't tell what. This whole show reminded me why I don't watch wrestling. It was so much like
hey, me too.
Sloppy non-storytelling. Like, it was hard to infer. I realized like people watching it at the time had more context, you know, but like it was hard to tell. In that match, it was hard to even tell who was the heel. It was just so bland. I don't know. There was no story in hardly any of these matches, I felt like.
Well, there was a moment in time, because the story of a tag match is you're working towards a tag, and there's one moment in time where Hawk tags Sting in, and Sting's like, yeah, that's not the time I'm supposed to come in.
Yeah.
And like straight up just tagged him, and Sting stayed on the apron. Like,
nope. And then most of the time, they're just both in there anyway. Like, they're just all in there, just running spots in different areas.
And the ref's going like, hey, cut it out. Like,
and at the same time, too, Sting's going, hey, Hawk, you're not supposed to be here right now. I felt bad for Sting because he's clearly, like, thinking, going, man, at one point in time, I was the face of this fucking company. And now Hulk Hogan's in here so he could fucking feud with a guy who's got, like, foam rocks behind him. And he goes, it was a big fucking deal. And now I'm like right here sandwiched at the beginning of this Clash of Champions, which...
It's all right. I'm going to leave tonight. I'm going to see that movie, The Crow. Everything's going to be all right.
Yeah, everything. It's okay. I got movie tickets to see this new Brandon Lee joint.
Yeah, I don't know what it's about. I might not like it.
I might not like it. It may not stick with me.
Yeah.
It may not stick with me. But yeah, Hawks does not fucking look good. Just stumbling around. At one point in time, I feel like there's a moment where like Sting looked across the ring to Ming and was like, "Yeah, we need to fix this.
Yeah, we gotta go.
Yeah, we need to do something good in this match because Hawk is in there and fucking everything up. Kurosawa, like he's trying to ask for a second take. And, nobody.
He's just fixing the lights around here.
Exactly, but nobody understand him and just fucking Hawk stumbling off the top rope. Like
Ming's working his ass off, just trying to survive.
Yeah, that's the thing. When Ming has to fucking survive, the toughest man on the planet's like, "Ooh, I need to go back into survival mode." That's not a good place you want Ming to be at. Is in survival mode.
This drunk hillbilly's gonna fuck me up.
Yeah, with a weird fucking haircut.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, this is all kinds of fucked up, and I put in my notes, I'm like, this match was on a fucking Clash of the Champions.
Yeah.
At one point in time, Clash of the Champions was like considered like, this is the flagship thing of WCW. We build to the Clash of the Champions.
That is wild to me.
Yeah. This wasn't even like a pay-per-view. Like, this was a free thing, though. Like, you got it on your...
Yeah.
It came on like a Thursday random. Like, it's like a random Thursday or Tuesday kind of show.
Yeah, this one came in on a Sunday, if I'm not mistaken, because they talked about WCW main event being on before, and that was a Sunday night program.
And we're working to Monday Nitro.
Yeah, and main event, they had Hulk Hogan versus Kamala.
Yeah.
So, like, Hulk Hogan and Kamala, and then we put this match out there.
Yeah.
So, like, it's fucking... And this is definitely a time where they're doing more regular pay-per-views because that's the only way they're generating money is via pay-per-view because they don't have the merchandising that WWE does. They don't get any of the TV rights that WWE is collecting. So the only way they make money is off of pay-per-views because they ain't making dick on the fucking house show loop because barely people want to see it on TV. So the only way they can make money is by pay-per-view, and thus making the Clash is less important. And Nitro's about ready to appear, and basically what you're seeing right here in this Clash of Champions is what you'll see on Nitro every single Monday on a different network. So it's kind of like this is like the last gasp of like Clash. This is the last call for Clash of the Champions for sure. And
this is what you get.
And this is exactly what you get.
Drunk Hawk.
Yep. And, like I said, they're really pushing this Dungeon of Doom tease.
Which, as someone who likes story, I was excited for. I was like, oh, they're going to do some weird kayfabe stuff. I'm into it. That didn't really pan out.
You thought something serious was going to come out of Dungeon of Doom?
Look, not serious, but I like the goofy shit, I like
I thought even the goofy shit would be good.
Oh, I like the goofy shit. Like, there's things in this Clash that I fucking like and brings me back to fucking 1995 that I fucking love. Like 1995 was like my favorite. That's when I fell back in love with wrestling because it went away. Because growing up, I used to see the syndicated shows. They would appear on the ABC affiliate, and I've told this story before. They showed up in the ABC affiliate right at a time when I would get out of Sunday school. So we would have to like get out of Sunday school like immediately so I can go home and watch WWF Superstars, and that'd be the only time I'd ever see wrestling. Now sometimes because it's syndicated, it'd be there and it wouldn't be there. But I would just have to rush home and turn on Channel 8 and hope for the best that it's there. And some days it was there, some days it wasn't. And then, if my parents wanted us to go to church after Sunday school, I'd be fucked. I'm like, fuck, I'm screwed. And then all of a sudden they stopped paying for the syndication. So then I didn't see it at all. And then it was pretty much just all on cable at that moment in time. And then I didn't see wrestling again until the very end of 94, the beginning of 95 when we had DirecTV. And that's when I started seeing Monday Night Raw every Monday.
It's so crazy how hard it was to seek things out back in the day. You just had like hope it showed up near you somehow.
Well, and the thing is, I didn't even know WCW existed till 1995.
Yeah,
because I just saw Bret Hart wrestling Jeff Jarrett on a Monday Night Raw, and William Shatner was there. I was like, holy shit, this is everything I've ever wanted in my entire life. And I started watching it, and then all of a sudden, like, because you had the on-screen guide of DirecTV, and I go, WCW wrestling, what the fuck is this? And then I turned it on and go, oh, that's what what these action figures are in the store. I just thought these were just generic action figures.
Just the cheap, the Dollar Tree fucking toys?
Yeah, I thought WCW was cheap Dollar Tree toys.
Okay.
And, like, I just thought it was fucking, like, weird. Like, I thought Sting was just a generic wrestling figure.
It was like a fake, that's funny.
So
it seems more logical to be a fake thing than a real thing.
So then I fucking loved WCW Saturday Night. My favorites were Arn Anderson, Brad Armstrong, and Bobby Eaton.
Jesus Christ, you had a vanilla fucking flavor. I mean, they were amazing, but...
Listen, there's a reason why I prefer my food bland, and I'm like, bland. Like,
I like my food bland, I'm a sex missionary.
Pretty much.
Right on.
Right on.
Sarate.
When something's fucking right,
hey,
don't go fucking with it and stick a finger in your butthole. That's the rules right there.
Don't
if
go.
missionary is good, don't go mess around with an anal. All right, like that's just
don't go chasing waterfalls. As they say.
You did it again. What was that you did?
Don't go enter the Dungeon of Doom unless you want to get attacked by a giant. Okay, like,
somebody's gonna snatch your chain.
But before we get to match number 2, we get an interview with Bunkhouse Buck,
fucking
Dirty Dick
Christ,
Slater, and Colonel Robert Parker, and we just see Dirty Dick Slater
just air punching
for no reason. Which I imagine he's imagining a woman's face, in front of him. If you've heard his Crime and Sports episode, that would make a lot more sense. Who he's imagining punching at the time. Yeah,
no,
so good, such a good episode. He was up for a scummy.
The episode is good. Dick Slater, not so good. Not a good person.
No.
So, what were your thoughts on this interview, Matt?
I mean, offensive to Southern people, I would say.
It's good that somebody's sticking up for Southern people for a change.
Yeah,
I feel like we've missed the boat on
Southern man.
Sticking it to us, you mean?
Yeah. You know, deep stereotypes and just a lot of sweat. Just remember, they're all...
Mine's glistening.
They had, like, handkerchiefs and slick down hair.
Yeah.
It was uncomfortable.
The fucking Bunkhouse's promo where he was talking about how he smelled. That was real good.
That's real good. And the thing is, too, he's talking about like being in a combine for days. Like, that's how my dad used to smell like.
Yeah.
You know? Like, Bunkhouse Buck smells like my father.
Maybe Bunkhouse Buck is your father.
Maybe. I mean, they're very close. Like, I'll show you a picture of my dad, and you'd be like, nah, if he slicked his hair back,
I can see it.
Does stir,
and then
maybe.
Colonel Parker talking about how he's gonna basically kidnap and sexually assault Sister Sherry there for
that whole thing. They're really teasing that. Do we want to talk about this now? No, they have a thing later.
They have a thing later.
We'll get to it later.
We got a lot more to unpack later.
Put a pin in that. We're coming back.
Let's just talk about the profuse sweating of Colonel Robert Parker,
the air punching of Dick
Slater, because Robert Parker is sweating like Lex Luger in a shoot interview. Mm-hmm. That's basically how bad he's sweating.
Bunkhouse Buck sounds like the nickname for a guy who does like sexual favors on the ranch. You know what I mean? Like the
hey man, if you're doing some of that weird shit around here, you go down there.
Guys who ride horses or whatever, they're Bunkhouse Buck's in the back.
And they
you keep being weird like that. You go see Bunkhouse Buck. You don't bring that shit here.
Yeah, fuck it. Why don't you go mess around with a little Bunkhouse Buck? You're a little light in the saddle, ain't you?
Like, it's not your name. It's like you are a Bunkhouse Buck.
It's like a different classification. Instead of you're a bear,
right.
You're a Bunkhouse Buck.
Boy's Bunkhouse Buck.
Before you blow the guy, you go like, no gay shit.
Whoa, now you're being weird. And do none of that goddamn cuddling when this is all done. Fix your butthole.
Make sure you air punch while I blow you.
Do this when you're about to finish. I don't like that shit in my mouth. Pull out your pecker.
Now here's a sweat handkerchief for you.
Nope, wait, wrong handkerchief. Here's this one.
Here's this one.
So who's the announcer with the little red bow tie? Because I fucking hated that guy.
That Mean Gene?
No. I hated this guy as much as I love Mean Gene.
Okay. Tony Schiavone?
Yeah.
I guess. Little Lord Fauntleroy fucking annoyed the shit out of me, dude. It was like a Tucker Carlson or something. It was gross.
Calling you out, Schiavone, coming at you.
You probably got Schiavone's number.
I do. Put him on speaker.
Put him on speaker right now.
He would probably agree with you too. Like, you're fucking right, dude.
You're right, slap dick. You
nailed it.
Nailed it.
Fuck you. Click.
But it was the other guy who was like the heel announcer, right? He was the one he hated Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, Bobby Heenan, yeah, he was great. Speaking of great, match number 2, Diamond Dallas Page with Kimberly taking on Alex Wright, who came out to no music.
Didn't need it.
Didn't fucking need it.
You got a fucking pelvic thrust like that, brother. You don't need that music.
That was a handsome man.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, you're like, why are you wrestling? You should just be in Tiger Beat or something.
Be a model.
Yeah.
I like this match, and I always really liked Alex Wright. Like, people are like, oh, fuck Alex Wright.
He was one of my favorites.
He's fucking great. Also, too, like, I always would hysterically laugh because I had WCW PlayStation games, which are actually just sitting right over there. As soon as I buy a PlayStation, it's on. And you would go to this option where you're about ready to pick the guy, and they would cut promos. And Alex Wright was on there, and he would do this thing. It'd be like a turn. Like, you would see like those graphics like in front of a green screen, and he would turn, and he goes, "This is Alex Wright. Let me show you what the real Germans can do." Like, that was his promo.
What, that guy's German?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Explain some things.
Well, it's funny that you like him so much because he's probably the most generic wrestler on the whole show. He just wears blue trunks. That's it.
Bland. That's the way old man Scott likes it. Just bland as fuck.
It's like
pale white wearing a leather jacket.
His hair's not even blonde or dark. It's just kind of in the middle.
Yeah. Dishwater blonde.
It just is.
Oh, that's what I need is an old dishwater blonde. That's just what I'm just looking for. Just plain face. Just
couldn't pick him out of a lineup.
Oh, it just blends in with the entire crowd.
If I can see his abs, I could pick him out of a lineup, but otherwise...
And all you guys pull your shirts up, please.
Real Ken doll kind of guy.
But
this match had my favorite like story stuff where they're implying that Diamond Dallas Page, they kept mentioning he has $13 million, and they were implying that it's his girlfriend's money, but he's like, no, I won it gambling. Yeah, that's how I have a bunch of money all of a sudden. I was real lucky at the casino. It's not because of this chick. No way.
Yeah, he's $13 million, but he's dressed like a West Virginia independent wrestler. Yeah. Like, that's what I fucking love.
Yeah. I love the Diamond Dallas Page story that he just worked at the bar. He owned the bar, or worked at the bar that everybody liked to go to. And he was like, I want to be a wrestler. And he's like 40-something. And they're like, come on. And then now he's a wrestler.
Nobody stopped him because he's a straight white male. And like, what are they going to do? Right. You're not going to stop anybody. Like, then you just say, hey, we have too many of you at this moment in time. Come check back later in 6 months.
It's like the wrestling version of like, I was at the drugstore counter and some modeling agent came in,
Yeah.
But it's like, I was serving shots, and they were so drunk they hired me.
Yeah, I like this match, except for the finish was a little weird, but it's a good fucking match. Yeah, enjoyed it.
Diamond Dallas is always great. Alex Wright was always great.
Yeah, everybody always talks shit. Fucking Diamond Dallas. Like, no, fuck, man. This was fun. This was fun.
At one point,
it's gonna be the highlight of what we see for the.
He fucks up because the Alex Wright guy has that great move that seemed to be a signature because he did it twice, and that's why he lost. It's a very risky move. I bet he loses a lot of matches that way because it's like, But the first time when it gets hit, Diamond Dallas Page then turns around and blames his girlfriend, and it's like, that is very specific abusive behavior. Like, that is someone who knows what an abuser does. Like, boy, oh boy.
We have shifted straight to gaslighting.
Yeah. Like, you were standing there, bitch. Like, wow, man. Okay. But yeah, then he just jumps over and the guy steps to the side. Just the key downfall of that being your finishing move. Just throwing yourself over the top rope.
Gravity.
Yeah.
Mi pasa.
It works. It works. You can kill a man with that.
It sure turns out.
You can kill a man.
And we'll talk about one day.
We'll talk about it next week.
Oh, boy.
But we'll talk about right now is this promo with Mean Gene, Ric Flair, who is 11-time world champion at this time.
We still got some more times to go.
And
How old is he at this point? Arn Anderson.
Arn Anderson?
No, I mean Ric Flair, but yeah.
Well, I think Ric Flair is probably in his 40s at this time.
Probably.
Early 40s.
Fun fact, today is his birthday.
Yes. As we're recording this. 71.
Yeah.
I feel like he already had like old man skin that a man in his mid-40s should not have had yet.
See,
not at that color.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's funny too, is like, people always talk about like, oh, AJ Styles is like in his 40s now, and people were talking about when Flair was in his 40s, he was way past his prime. But I mean, I think you got to keep in mind too is that people of Flair's generation wrestled a lot more, traveled a lot more, also had
and they were just
living.
like, I'd eat Spam out of a can because it's the best food for you. I heard.
Yeah.
My doctor said I should smoke more cigarettes.
Yeah, nutrition was better. So like a 40-year-old man now is a little bit different. Also too, like a 40-year-old wrestler probably hasn't taken amount of bumps that someone like a Ric Flair who wrestled as much as he did, so that their bodies can hang on a little bit longer, nutrition's a little bit better, so you can obtain a lot more knowledge and be a lot better later in life. So
this is the best Ric Flair match I think I've ever seen, because when I used to watch wrestling at all, it was like way later than this, and he was already like decrepit,
Yeah.
I would still say he's got some years of his prime left in him. He's got some good
Here or like in life?
No.
Okay.
Life, he's...
This is a weird...
Oh, he's
I can't
already...
believe he's alive.
Yeah. I mean, life catches up with him at a moment of time. But as far as like his career goes, he's got a couple years here because this is right. This whole thing is to set up. We're setting up like Rick versus Arn at Fall Brawl, and that match is incredible. And there's a couple other Flair matches that happen after this as well that are incredible as well. But he's still very close to his prime. He's just coming off some really good years as well. And a feud with Macho Man, I think, is upcoming this year as well. So he's got some good stuff coming up. But what are your thoughts on Arn Anderson, Matt?
He just looks like he's from the South. You can just look at him and tell he's Southern somehow. I really liked him. I thought he was a good wrestler, too. But that was my main takeaway from that promo that I remember. I was like, you can just look at that guy and tell he's from the South. There's something... I guess some guy fucked a lot of his cousins a long time ago.
Arn Anderson, you never turned your back on an Anderson. They billed me as Minneapolis, Minnesota, but there's nothing about me that says Minneapolis, Minnesota, except for my cold, dead eyes.
Yeah, I guess the name Anderson sounds Scandinavian or something.
So that accent sure fucking doesn't.
No, that says Rome, Georgia, my friend. And what says WCW is TV title match between Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff taking on the Renegade.
Fuck, I would love this time of my life back, but I spent watching the Renegade do or attempt to do anything like wrestling.
No, fuck off. Renegade, it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Are you telling us or yourself?
Oh, I forgot to say, one of my favorite thing about that promo was is that it's two guys in a handicap match talking shit. It's like, we're going to both beat the shit out of you. Like, congratulations. You're probably going to lose, first of all. And if I know how these matches tend to work. And also, like, if you win, it's not that impressive. How dare you, like, boast about, oh, we're going to beat the shit out of you. Us two professional wrestlers. Yeah.
They're going to beat your one ass.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you interrupted. You went back, because before we get to this title match, we get to see some commercials.
Yeah.
For the Judge Dredd Slim Jims, you mean?
Action figures?
Action figures, the video game, Slim Jim. Work them in there. They still exist. Imagine being like the people that claim and paid for the advertisement for Judge Dredd. You're still getting those advertising dollars on the WWE Network right now. That's a good fucking buy, advertisement-wise.
Not having seen any wrestling in a while, it reminded me how much of a given show is ads. Like, part of it just ads for the pay-per-views and ads for other matches next week and stuff. It was like a good 20 minutes of the 90-minute thing was commercials, even on like a service with all the commercials edited out.
Well, and they're also advertising stuff with WCW Fall Brawl. That's coming up, and multitude of other things.
There was just a Hot Pockets ad in there.
Yeah, there was a Hot Pockets,
The classic Jim Gaffigan stuff.
But yeah, Mr. Wonderful, Renegade. Like I the whole time I'm watching this Renegade match, I was like, man, Renegade's not that bad until he goes on all four corners and he can't even take a belly to back suplex properly. I'm like, oh, there it is.
Yep. It was coming.
Stand corrected. I was like that. Now I see the little chink in this whole armor right here. Like, oop, that's. if he can't even do that, that's a problem. But more kudos to Mr. Wonderful.
Yeah, Paul Orndorff can go, brother.
At this moment in time, that fucking right arm, that degenerative nerve failure is really fucking bad and really fucking noticeable. Like, I was like, man, he is fucking out there with a fucking right arm that's fucking dying. Dying before our eyes, and he is wrestling the fucking Renegade to a passable fucking match, which just makes me fucking love Paul Orndorff that much more, and makes me upset that he screamed at my fucking face one day at a fucking Wrestle Reunion because I didn't know where his fucking table was set up. The motherfucker screamed in my fucking face at a Miami Beach hotel with the beach in the background, with this beautiful sunset. I was getting screamed at by Mr. Wonderful with the most beautiful backdrop in the fucking background. But I wish I didn't get screamed at by him. So that he is.
But he's great on Shark Tank, you know.
He's great on Shark Tank.
All I wrote in my notes for that match was I zoned out on these two white dudes. I kind of zoned out on that match. I didn't notice one guy's arm was dying. I didn't notice any of that stuff.
I couldn't get my eyes
Couldn't get around it.
Couldn't get around it.
When Renegade hits that,
I wish I had known about it because it would have made the match much more entertaining to watch. Like, look at this motherfucker not using his arm. That's amazing.
Dead arm over there.
No, he was using it. He clotheslined with his. Let's think. Like, his left arm clearly has definition, has a bicep, has a tricep. That right arm is just fucking deteriorating, and he was throwing clotheslines with that right arm.
Wow.
Like, he's giving his right arm with his like his fucking dying arm. You know?
Can't feel anything anymore, so I'm just gonna flail it at you and knock your fucking head off.
So
Renegade's little springboard, little slingshot over the top rope crossbody for the win, though. That was neat.
Yeah,
I'm surprised he made that.
He can do some shit.
Well, calm down.
He can do some shit.
He calmed down on the incredible compliment. He can do some shit. Like, I wouldn't go that far. I don't know that he can do things.
He did a shit. He did a shit.
He got pyro.
He sure did get pyro.
Got pyro.
Pyro and face paint.
Yeah.
Was this the time they couldn't get the Ultimate Warrior?
Well, I mean, that was the whole.
That was the whole point.
That was the whole point of his existence.
Yeah.
And he just never got to like.
He really was the dollar store version of the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, pretty much. That was pretty much what they were doing here. This went far better than his bash at the beach match, which we've covered on this podcast before. So, so he obviously had the capacity to learn and improve. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Whatever. Sad state of affairs. Everybody gives him shit.
Is he still with us?
Nope.
Didn't think so.
Committed suicide, if I'm mistaken. So, and just never got over this period of his life. So, and we're making fun of it, much like everybody else does.
No, that's fine.
Well, that's what I was trying. I was trying to be the voice of love. Compassion.
I'm not gonna call his wife and tell her about it.
Well, we don't know. We'll see how she feels about it.
She ain't listening.
But speaking of people that are no longer with us,
okay.
Vader.
Ugh.
Backstage
Big
promo
Van Vader.
with Mean Gene.
Is he really 452 pounds, you think? That sounds like a lot.
That does sound like a lot.
He's a big boy, though.
If it came from Vader, it's probably a lie. And this is our second show in a row talking about Vader, so
I wrote down one thing he said. He said, if that gator mouth can back up that canary...
that canary body.
That canary hind end you've got. What a weird. I found his screaming about how he doesn't feel fear or pain to be very unconvincing. Like, the lady doth protest too much. He's like voicing, I don't feel anything! Okay, I'm not scared! It's like, okay, buddy. If you say so, you're wearing a mask so we can't see your face. But...
Which, if we know about Vader, he does cry a lot. And talk about how he's a big piece of shit.
Oh, big piece of shit. How would he say that, Zane?
I am a big piece of shit.
Yeah. Is there any
I'm Vader. I'm a big piece of shit.
Wait, was that his character at some point, or is that just him as a person?
That was him as a person, like, had a moment, like, breakdown during an interview.
And then Vince McMahon's like, get this on fucking camera.
Yeah. Maybe Vader is a big piece of shit.
But this moment in time, he's hot Vader.
Yeah.
How was there any lines in here, Zane, that stick out to you? That you'd like to recreate as Vader?
No, I don't, because I don't want to hear it from you.
You don't want to hear it? I believe in the future episode we discuss about that we have a Vader.
Jake Manning, I'm back for you. Coming for you, Jake Manning. Look, I know what you want. You want to talk about Vader, but Vader's the best in the world.
Oh, no fear, Nazi Vader.
I'm sorry to hear that, Leon, but Man Scout ain't here right now. The only one that's here is the enforcer, Arn Anderson.
Oh, Arn Anderson, you sit on your side of the table. You don't want another Big Van Vader, Tom Van Daddy, Big Van Vader.
Now, Leon, I hear you've been telling people that you used to play in the NFL, but nobody can find any records of you being in the NFL.
I was wondering if that was real or not.
Now, I gotta tell you something. I don't respect anybody that puts on a helmet and pads and gets a paycheck. The way that I, Arn Anderson, have been making a living for the last 20 years of my life is I have gone out and spilled my blood, sweat, and tears for this business of professional wrestling. So you coming at me with all this attitude about how you played on the Los Angeles Rams, I'm none too impressed.
I'm also from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
In this particular show, though, I feel like neither one of those men whispered a single word they said.
Yeah, see,
your impressions are quiet versions. In
They're
this,
normal
they're both
versions. Really good microphones.
screaming
These are
at
really
the
good
top of their
microphones.
lungs.
Yeah.
It's microphone.
I've got to work on my
They'll fix it in post.
my Arn Anderson promo where it's like the thing the time has come. Like it's
you
more,
lose it when you get louder.
You lose it when you keep it low. It sounds like he does on his podcast, which I have an hour. I have like an hour's. I just listened to an hour's worth of his audio at that level, so I can copy that. I can jump right into it. Where it's a little tougher. Where this guy, he can jump into Vader whenever he wants. So.
Because he lives inside me.
Wouldn't that be? That would be our fucking movie. Like, for sure, of us as a friendship. Like, this one guy was a complete dickhole of professional wrestling. This guy hates him. Oh, but it's okay. His spirit will embody his best friend.
One crazy night.
Big Van Vader.
Is Vader a good wrestler?
No.
I see. I can't even take that away from him.
He's agile for such a large man. I'll give him that.
As a wrestler, and also too, let me also say this too. Even though I dislike Vader on multiple levels, I still do not wish upon him to be dead at this moment in time.
Because I wanted him to hear the content I've been putting out about him.
Yeah, right.
But
I was hoping we'd have a good Twitter beef.
I cannot.
I wanted to kill him.
By my hands.
Yeah.
But I
got lightheaded when he said that. Vader's leaving my body.
And Vader's leaving your body. He's like, oh shit, he's gonna kill Zane. Ah! This is where the second act starts.
I gotta
go. But as a wrestler, I feel like Vader served his purpose, did a very good, much like in the same sense that Big Show, much like Lex Luger. These guys that are not of the caliber
Big
of
Show
Ric
has
Flair.
charisma, though, at least.
I would argue with it. Like, I can't take anything away from Vader in his place in professional wrestling. I can only speak to him as being a garbage human being.
Big piece of shit.
Big piece of shit. Like, I can't get past that fact. And I know you're supposed to.
You haven't done them on 10 Bell, right?
Yes, we have. We did 2
you already
episodes.
did?
I put a fucking case in the
I might have to listen to that.
That's why it was so. He was.
That's why you're so mad about it. You did the research.
Yes, and that's the thing too. When he died, like, oh, Leon, he's such a good. I'm like, no, he was a fucking piece of shit. I'm not taking away his accomplishments, his place in professional wrestling. It exists. And like, oh, you shouldn't talk bad about people when they're dead because they don't have opportunity.
That's the craziest rule I've ever. Don't speak ill of the dead. Like,
fuck them. What are they gonna do?
Yeah. Exactly, because he had his whole life to defend himself. He had his whole life. Like, it could have been one isolated incident, and I'm like, wow, the rest of his life he did this. But no, every fucking turn, fucking piece of shit. I can't dig up one thing. And even people that were like said good about him, like, you know what? Leon had his faults.
He's an acquired taste, but in small doses,
he was hard to get along with, but he was always good to me. But he was shitty to everybody in the low person on the totem pole. Right. So I'll just forget when he beat up somebody that was less than them. But because I'm Nature Boy Ric Flair and he was good to me, he's a good guy. No, he's good to you because you were the fucking top guy, but he treated the lower guy like shit. And you as a top guy should stick up for that fucking lower guy, or else you've got no fucking balls.
Case closed.
That's been our segment, Vader Time with Jake.
But no, I can't.
Podcast within a podcast.
Can't take away his place in professional wrestling. He was definitely existed, and I don't wish that he was dead.
He definitely
existed. We can all agree.
Yeah.
He definitely had a place. And definitely what existed was this vignette for Colonel Robert Parker and Harlem Heat, where we see Colonel Robert Parker commit sexual assault on Sensational Sherry.
Oh, well, but we forgot the Harley sweepstakes. That was when they introduced that little thread, and that someone died because of that, right? Like, if you win a motorcycle from just calling a phone number or a wrestling promo, like, you have no business riding a motorcycle. Well, and your children are like, Daddy, no.
How hard can it be?
Funny that you say that.
Oh, shit.
They did the giveaway for this at Halloween Havoc, which is a show we covered very early in the archives.
Okay, I remember this whole Dungeon of Doom thing, and I was like, did we actually do this episode and we forgot?
No, the Halloween Havoc 1995, they gave away this thing, and it was also like they aired the segment, and Hulk Hogan was there when they gave away the Harley, and it was just before he was like, and there's the middle of this whole thing where he basically pushed the Giant off the fucking Cobo Arena. It was just before that, and he was trying to do like a darker Hulk Hogan, so he's giving away this Harley. When you would expect, like, oh, Hulk Hogan's gonna be here to give away a Harley, you're imagining red and yellow. This motherfucker's in all black, like trying to have more of a fucking edge, and then he's gonna go up and put a red and yellow jumpsuit and get in a red and yellow monster truck, and then come back down and have black on. So he's giving away this Harley in all black.
To his,
he's going back and forth from red and yellow to black, and it's just all over the place.
It's hilarious that he thought at any point that he could be like the brooding, like
smoldering.
Yeah, that's not
this
crazy.
Time. But then when he turned NWO, like, he was just this fucking chicken shit fucking heel, and he was a pretty good fucking heel, but it wasn't brooding for sure. He was gloating. Like,
I could see him just turning it the other way,
like Hollywood Hogan,
showy thing. Yeah,
great
right, Hollywood.
Fucking heel.
Yeah,
great fucking heel. Great heel.
Scary Hulk Hogan. I'm just like, no thanks.
Just as scary as Colonel Robert Parker around women, apparently.
Man, that shit
smell this rag.
Weird.
Yep. Match number 4, Harlem Heat and Sister Sherry.
The one we've really been waiting for.
The one 5 men and a lady. What's going to happen? The lady's going to be involved. Yeah. What's going to happen? Is she going to have her period in the middle of this match?
Well, someone was like, a 5-man match, if you will. You know, like, every time they mentioned it, they had to make a different little twist on it.
Yeah, we've got to shit on this.
Discredit her as a woman and her place in wrestling.
Even though she's tougher than most of the men
Probably
in the locker
one
room.
of the best wrestlers in this match.
For sure.
I did like how it was clear, like, she could kick the shit out of the Colonel if she wanted to. Like, he was. They did play that note of, like, he didn't really want to get in the ring with her, and like,
even though, like, Colonel Parker used to be a wrestler, I mean, Sherry, fucking amazing fucking wrestler, former champion, like, she's just the fucking best. Like, she's incredible, and just, I fucking love how much the people get behind this fucking tag for Sherry to go whoop his fucking ass. Like, that's. That, I was like, this made me think, like, oh man, there's like, you, like, couldn't you see this? Like, the idea of intergender wrestling working in the sense of, like, oh, this woman's gonna kick this fucking man's ass for being a fucking asshole. Like, why did they fucking pull the trigger more on this? And it's just like, man, they were just so.
I was surprised to see it, honestly. Yeah, like, because I feel like that's such a taboo thing still to be like, but. Although it wasn't taboo in that fucking movie we watched. Holy shit, did a lot of women get hit in the face.
Yeah.
In No Holds Barred.
But Sherry would have fucking made a fucking comeback. But I fucking love how at the start of the match, fucking Sherry's just trying to get at Robert Parker, and Harlem Heat they're trying to hold her back, and then they turn her back on her for a second, and she takes off again. Like, she's just like, she's incredible. Like, she's, like, the little bit that she's around, she is incredible.
She was screaming at the top of her lungs every time, like, there was any kind of close-up of her, you know? Just fucking screaming at him. I thought it was so weird, though, the way the one announcer guy was like, I think they're in love all the time. It was this weird, like, what is the bit there? I don't fully understand what the bit...
She wants it.
That's really why she's acting that way around him.
Because it's 5 men and a lady. You know what's going to happen when she's getting around 5 men.
Yeah.
Her hormones are going to kick
out with these Harlem fellas. Which, by the way, did the announcer say, are they supposed to be related? Because
they are.
Yeah.
Oh, Booker T and that other guy
Stevie
never
Ray.
seen are related.
Not Booker
Okay.
T.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was because they said they're from Harlem and they said specifically 110th Street. And I was like, they're both from the same street? Okay. But,
They're brothers.
They're brothers.
Yeah,
I
they're
didn't
legit
know
brothers. And also, too,
I'm familiar with Booker T, but not the other guy so much.
Stevie Ray.
He didn't really
Suckers gots to know. Suckers gots to know.
Was he not wrestling in like the mid-2000s WWE?
No, he was done when WCW was done. And he was
Booker
kind
T
of...
was killing it at that point. I remember him being awesome.
Fucking Booker T is amazing.
Yeah.
Fucking incredible. Speaking of things that are not incredible, I should point out that Dick Slater does the old school black guys have a hard head spot.
Yeah.
Where he headbutts...
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, you headbutt a black guy and they just don't react? Is that the bit?
Hurts you twice
it
as
hurts
much.
you more? Because what, they got thicker skulls or some phrenology bullshit? Like,
Yeah.
oh my god, that's horrible.
Same with Samoans.
Yep. And then the big thing is, like, what happens when a Samoan headbutts Junkyard Dog?
The world of bloods.
Right, when the irresistible force meets the immovable object or whatever.
Yep.
A whole match of just headbutting over and over again until one guy
CTE,
falls.
that's what happens.
Yep.
That is...
Someone pisses blood
I've
and
never
shakes.
heard of that before.
Yeah.
Well, you did on this podcast.
Welcome.
The black guy's head is hard. Wow, man.
Yep.
That's rough.
And of course, not only are black guys' heads hard, if a woman is around a man long enough,
Gonna have to kiss him.
she's gonna have to kiss him for the finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird, but it was like her saying "fuck you." Still, like, there's a way to read it that's not horrible, but there's also a way for a lot of 9-year-old boys to read it that is deeply problematic.
Especially since I think they ended up having a relationship. Like, she actually did fall in love with him, and they had like
That
a
is
wedding.
fucking horrible.
As opposed to, I'm a woman, I'm going to use my sexuality to throw you off guard and get this
That's what it
victory
seemed
over
like
top
in the
of you.
match. You
Yeah.
know, like,
Because then she starts to beat his ass
but
in
then
the,
that completely
the aisleway again.
right.
It
But that completely undercuts it if they get married.
Yeah,
That's horrible.
Yeah, it is fucking horrible because it had an opportunity to be very fucking positive and could have worked,
Yeah.
and people were behind it, working in a positive way, and we just did the fucking bullshit thing. Come here, black guy, let me fucking headbutt you so I can fall
Bring
down.
your big thick skull over
Bring
here.
your big thick skull over here.
God.
I got.
Oh, I like that the one guy was from Bucksnort, Tennessee. That's just funny to me. Buckhouse Buck, I guess, was from there. Bucksnort, Tennessee.
Also, too, during this match, there's a commercial break where we plug the Harley thing again, and then they also say, hey, we're going to announce who the winner is on this new program we have, WCW Nitro.
Maybe you've heard of it.
Right.
Maybe you've heard of it. It's
And
going to be
then
the thing
they
that
were-
changes the industry
they were like-
forever.
They were like, oh, there's a big-time guy from sports journalism
Yeah.
joining. You wouldn't
Bob
say,
Costas.
yeah.
You want to
And I
take a guess
assume
on who it
it's
is?
someone I've never heard of.
Oh, he probably is. You probably have heard of this guy. You want to take a
Oh,
guess on who it could
I've
be?
heard of the people they said. They were like, is it Dick Vitale? I know who that is.
Who do you think it was? Let's have you
hosted Monday Nitro?
do your best, Bobby the Brain Heenan, and throw as many guesses as you possibly can.
I don't even know that many. Like
He said them all.
Yeah,
You know
I think
who I would say.
I think I know, that's all the sports announcers I know. So
Mike
it's
Adley.
probably
It was Steve Mongo McMichaels.
Yeah.
not a clue. Never doesn't even ring a bell.
85 Bears. There you go.
Is he still in sports?
I like how you were like, hey,
radio
you
or-
gave the shake, and then I said
Sure.
85 Bears, and you're like, oh, yeah, okay.
But is he still in announcing?
I think he might be involved in radio
He
right
does
now.
something for sure because like
Yeah.
he was on TV not too long ago for
He's on the NFL Network quite
Yeah.
a bit. They
I
get
know it was
his
NFL.
they get his weird eye on there as much as possible. That's for
and then
sure.
he had a run as a wrestler there for a minute too.
Which I liked him as a wrestler.
Yeah.
People,
Him and Kevin Green.
I fucking take a lot of heat for that, but if you just had Mongo come in, punch kick, be in some 6-man tags, be an enforcer, it's when you have to when you make him take a tilt-a-whirl head scissors, that's where your issue is, okay? Just let him punch and kick and do a couple shoulder tackles. That's all you need him to do. That's all you need him to do. But what we need to do,
I wrote down something one of the announcers said. He said, you ever pull a coat down over someone's arms and whack them? I just thought that was funny.
okay, I'm glad we got that in.
Oh, and then at the end of the match, he was like, she's in love with him, and then she like fake passes out, and he says something about like, is she out cold or is she in love? You can never tell with a woman. It's like, wow, dude. Yikes.
This match has everything you need to be behind the times.
You never tell with these women, lying all the time.
Trifling.
Well, speaking of trifling,
yeah,
we have Hulk Hogan with Mean Gene, and Hulk is talking about all the Irish people, the O'Reillys, the O'Briens, and McMahons.
And then he brags about having a little boy measure his bicep in public.
and then shows his bikini briefs. What's going on here, Hulk?
24 and 3.
And then he was talking about, he said something about, and this got me more excited for the Dungeon of Doom. He was like, are they making ghouls down there? And said something about, like, there's going to be undead. I was like, fuck yes, dude.
Yeah, there is.
There's going to be ghouls in there? That's awesome. None of this pays off.
Break their CGI budget on this motherfucker.
Yeah, so.
I love that if within the fiction of the show they're resurrecting the dead or something, or like creating little homunculi. Like, that's awesome.
Then moves over to sci-fi for a while.
Yeah, I love that kind of shit.
That's right. Well,
I mean, he's got a Dungeon of Doom. That's sci-fi enough.
Next segment I fucking love because it's the most wholesome goddamn thing you'll ever Tomas?
Oh, you mean his name changes?
Yeah, because
in the same sentence.
And I love how Mean Gene is asking like a non-question and then expects him to answer it as if he asked the question.
Yeah,
like
and
he
then
did
the
that
kid just looks at him
like you already answered your fucking question, Mean Gene.
This is my favorite part of the whole show.
You're known as the greatest interviewer of all time, and you're not even interviewing me.
You don't know how to talk to a fucking 9-year-old boy in a wheelchair. You fucked up here.
Well, you didn't plan any of this in advance. Like.
You didn't call your spots with the kid?
The kid's not a professional, Maybe you should have done a little dress rehearsal or something.
But it doesn't fucking matter because Macho Man coming out
saves the fucking day.
Macho Man with a fucking kid in a wheelchair. Yeah. That is the fucking most wholesome thing you ever fucking. If you have a bad fucking day, just watch this segment right when Macho Man comes in because that is the fucking most beautiful thing you'll ever fucking see.
One of the best things I've ever seen because this kid. His name is Tomas. I don't know that English is even his first language. And so Macho Man just tells him what to say. He goes, just say, ooh, yeah. And because he talks like, he's telling him to say, oh, yeah, but the kid repeats what he said, which is, ooh, yeah. Like, he's just doing it phonetically. Like how ABBA sang their songs. He's like, ooh, yeah. Like, not even saying the words. Yeah. It was incredible.
It was great.
That was my favorite part of the whole
And then we go to a Macho Man.
Tomas, is that right, Thomas?
Hey, Thomas. Then we go to a Macho Man video.
Which is weird that you kick it from Macho Man to Macho Man.
Mm-hmm. Leave a little buffer in there before Hulk Hogan enters the Dungeon of Doom.
What we've all been.
Which I thought this was good because I've seen a segment like this before, and I'm thinking of one that aired on WCW Saturday Night where he walked in and it was all this creepy place, and this was not the segment I thought was on the show, but like I saw the screen cap, like, oh, this is going to be this, but it turned out to be that, but it makes no difference. We still get to see Hulk Hogan in the Dungeon of Doom. Were you disappointed, Matt?
Very much. So, because first of all, nothing happened.
Disappointment.
So there's this guy. I liked his cool like corpse makeup. I thought that was cool. The like fat bald guy and like a
King Curtis as the master.
But there were a lot of like establishing shots of the whole arena, and it's packed out. And so I'm like, where are they filming this? Because it seems like they had about the size of this room to work with, and there were like 10 guys in there at one point. But it's this tiny little set. And nothing. What was he even talking about? Is that guy is an immortal? The guy said he was an immortal. First of all, is that one dude really Andre the Giant's son?
No.
But he was always
in
prefaced
character.
to
He
the
is.
Yeah. He eventually became a big show.
Okay.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't recognize him.
Yeah.
He was so young. He was like thinner,
looking like a fucking ginormous Trevor Lee almost.
Yes. Wow, that's what Trevor Lee's gimmick should be. Yeah. I'm the son of the Giant from WCW.
I'm the son of Andre the Giant.
Yes, the grandson of Andre the Giant.
But then part of his gimmick was claiming to be immortal.
Hulk Hogan always said he's the immortal Hulk Hogan.
So this guy's like playing off that. So like, I'm immortal. Fuck you.
If you're immortal, I'm immortal.
Right.
You're like, I'm not dead. You're dead. Like one of those things.
But it's like it was unclear. what is happening really, or like where they are, why all these people are there. You know what I mean? They were just in an arena wrestling or like doing promos, and now they're in a cave. Like, why?
How'd we get here?
Yeah.
And then,
how did Sting show up? I just saw him wrestling.
So like they walk in, like Hogan has to walk through the door.
Yeah.
And then everyone else comes
from behind the camera.
But then like and you would assume that the people in the Dungeon of Doom would already be in the dungeon. Right. But then like Macho and Sting just run from off camera.
Yeah.
Not even through the door, just we were kind of hanging out over there too.
Yeah.
There's a Starbucks next door.
I thought they're really gonna set up some. I mean, I guess they're setting up for future shows and pay-per-views and whatever, but man, that was a real disappointment. There's nothing. I didn't learn anything from that. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think if I'm not mistaken, they had this at like a sound stage, and they recorded this earlier at a different time, and I think they had to keep they had to keep the continuity of everything, and that's why earlier in the promo, Hulk's like, "I'm not going to tear this shirt." Because he knows he's already filmed
that shirt.
He's wearing that shirt.
Thing. Oh man!
So
they could have like used multiple camera angles to make it look good and stuff, but they just shot it as though they were doing it in like the hallway.
Well, they had multiple camera angles, and there was a cut like when he like put his hand on his shoulder and turned him around. So there was that cut. But yeah, this was all filmed pre, and then it's mixed in later.
Well, you see. Would have been better, but Kurosawa had to get ready for his match.
Right.
And he couldn't be over there to direct.
He was trying to do the storyboards. Yeah.
He was already bogged down with continuity. He was just like, I can't.
I've already got to deal with Hawk. I can't deal with this too.
And then Vader saves him, which then makes you think, so Vader, like, he's going to interfere in
come back and help in the
handicap match. Yeah. Because that would be good storytelling. That doesn't happen. Yeah. It's obvious, so maybe it's bad storytelling, but still, like, nothing.
No, you need that obvious every once in a while.
Yeah, nothing.
This doesn't come back to play at all?
Nothing gets set up or paid off in any of this.
And the thing is, it all kind of gets to Fall Brawl, because originally, Fall Brawl is next pay-per-view, and it gets to the Dungeon of Doom versus Hulk Hogan, Sting, and Macho Man, and they need a fourth man, and they bring in Vader. Now, Vader's time with WCW ends because of an incident with Paul Orndorff. But I'll tell you what, I remember, I can't fucking shake this out of my fucking head for as long as I fucking live. The promos that were cut when Vader was announced that he was the fourth man on that team, like Vader popping out of a fucking tank and just like, I'm your fourth man, and they all wearing like camouflage, like face paint, and we're going to war, brother. We're going to war. And then Vader fucking left, and then they just had Lex Luger show up and like, we'll just put Luger on this.
Yeah,
and then like he's gonna be part of it, and that's basically what we get to. Ultimately, what ends up fucking happening.
Who is in the Dungeon of Doom?
Well, there's
who's that main guy, first of all?
Kevin Sullivan is the guy in the red.
The bald guy.
The Master.
Right.
King Curtis, who I've mentioned many times, is known for cutting these amazing promos. Like one time the tape broke for the Polynesian Championship Wrestling promotion, and they didn't have a show, so they just put a camera on King Curtis, and he just fucking talked the entire show, and people are like, that's incredible. Like, yeah, he just cut this hour-long promo. Like, he was that incredible. Insane. So
he seemed cool.
Yeah.
But then who are the other? Because you expect them to be like spooky guys, you know.
The Shark, who is actually used to be Earthquake,
is in the same gear, just has shark teeth painted on his face.
And then Zodiac,
who
is actually Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Kamala, who Hulk Hogan just vanquished.
Kamala
Harris, who he just vanquished earlier and exposed that she was taking all types of money from undisclosed donors. He did that in WCW main event. So, and that's basically the Dungeon. And then the Giant. Yes.
The Giant. That's a trip. That's Big Show. I didn't realize it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And then we come back and we throw it to Tony and Brain, and they're like, "Sell this shit!" What just happened? And they're
like, "How?"
And they fucking do it. Also, during the segment where you see Tony and Brain selling this, in the back, I see somebody holding up a sign that says 911. It says 911, or does it say
9/11?
9/11?
Uh-oh.
Maybe.
Oh, no.
Just
Pieces
saying,
all fit together, man.
all the pieces fit together. That
Goes
WCW,
all the way to the top.
which inconspicuously closed up in 2001. Maybe somebody involved with WCW had some free time on their hands, caused 9/11.
You like Ted Turner?
Yeah, maybe he's behind it. Much like there was like
save this for your conspiracy podcast, all right?
okay, much like the conspiracy about the professor from Gilligan's Island being the Zodiac killer, and all the murders happened during off seasons of Gilligan's Island. Yeah, because he wasn't working at Gilligan's Island; he was murdering people.
That's
like,
great.
That's a good one.
Awesome.
That's a funny internet one. It gets a good laugh.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, it's really Ted Cruz's dad. We all know that.
Yeah, we all know that.
Or just Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
But let's get to match number 5, main event.
Yeah.
If we don't got anything else to say, it is Arn Anderson and Ric Flair taking on Vader. And I love how, as the guys are coming to the ring, Bobby the Brain Heenan's like, "Oh, this is just like Nitro." Little does he know, this Clash of the Champions is going to be very much like a Nitro every week.
Yeah.
So that's very clairvoyant of Bobby the Brain Heenan. He's always one step ahead.
Yep.
He was just like, "Oh, is Hogan the third man?" He's always
was.
always a step ahead. Always a step ahead. And of course, we get to have Michael Buffer in there with
his little earring.
Yeah,
Nice little hoop earring. That was
nice
great.
little hoop earring. Very 1995.
Yeah.
Of him.
He was crushing puss at the time, man. He had to have that.
And he had one fucking job, and he fucked it up.
Yeah,
he fucked up Vader's weight. He goes, "Excuse me."
Yeah, he said like 200 something first.
Yeah.
Vader came out in that weird, like, it's like if Darth Vader was an elephant kind of mask. But then I loved it because he took it off halfway down the ramp. So, like, that motherfucker can't breathe. He just stops halfway down and takes it off and puts it on the ground. I'm like,
It used to, like, when he would take it and put it down, it would erupt smoke.
Yeah, and he would look at it like, "Oh, look at this. Look at this explode. Look at it right here. Oh, this is real fucking cool, isn't it? I'm Big Van Vader. Oh, this is real fucking
that would have been
good."
cool.
So,
Instead, he just put it on the ground. I was like, what? Why even bother wearing it?
yeah, I kind of feel that way about a singlet, which he just put on backwards. Fucking typical fucking Vader wearing a singlet backwards. Match is not a bad handicap match. I believe every second of it. Yeah. Goddamn believed every second of that fucking spine buster from Arn Anderson.
Yeah. That was the first move in this whole show that I was like, wow, that was fucking cool. He spun that big boy around. That was dope. And yeah, like Ric Flair took huge bumps. Yeah. I was really impressed. Throwing him way the fuck up in the air.
Oh yeah, he got up real far off of that fucking victory slam off the top and just.
Like I'm used to seeing old Ric Flair. I haven't seen him take hits like that before.
I love that when he gave him that toss though, like Vader hooks him on the dick and then just kind of touches his upper body and Flair's like yelling and screaming, but also grabbing Vader's hand to put it in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's about to just fucking toss him straight down on his head. No, up here. Okay.
Old fucking Leon. Got taking care of him.
I wrote down Arn Anderson looks like giant Frank Sabatka. I don't know if you guys watch The Wire, but he looks like thick daddy Frank Sabatka.
Now I gotta go back and watch.
And then who did the ref remind you of?
Supercut in Arn Anderson scenes of The Wire.
I thought like Cousin Larry from Perfect Strangers or something.
Balky.
Yeah,
who was the ref? Nick Patrick?
He had like a curly mullet kind of.
Yeah, Nick Patrick.
If it's Nick Patrick, I think he's more Kenny Powers from Eastbound and Down.
Oh yeah, I can see that for sure.
Little skinny guy.
Mm-hmm. Of
when
course,
Arn Anderson goes like this, is that a signal to do something, or is that just like a
just a little twitch? Just kind of make it look more real. Kind of like roll.
Well, yeah, I can see how it's just like a masculine thing, but I was wondering, like, is that also like grab me by this arm, fucker, spin me around?
Just kind of like
getting ready. Here we go.
Get going. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it did make a difference because when Arn Anderson DDT Vader, just kind of no-sold it so he can fix his mask right on the fucking camera.
Vader almost fucks up at one point. Like, he almost falls off the top rope. He's climbing up there, and there's a moment where he's like, oh, shit. Like, that would have been bad.
Ass.
Yeah, he just fell on his ass.
But yeah, this is a handicap match, and we all kind of believe, and we don't know how it's going to end. And it's
had a good ending.
Had a decent ending, and it's all to set up Flair versus Arn at Fall Brawl, which we know is a fucking classic. But of course, Hulk just can't let us get out of here. He's got to close the show and talk about his chain. The last time this was ripped off of me. This is war, brother. This is war.
And then Vader had to run back out there and add like even more incoherentness to his promo.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about Vader, talk to me to my face.
Well, Leon, if I want to talk to your face, I'll give you Spawn Buster.
He's Spawn Buster the shit out of that man.
Of the enforcer of the Four Horsemen.
I like how it reminds me of like the bullshit rules in hockey, like how if you're gonna get pinned in a tag match, like your partner just kicks the guy or whatever,
breaks him up,
but there's no penalty for that. It's like the referee just goes like, quit doing that. I'm gonna ignore what's going on behind me for a while. And you can just do that a million times, and there's no
well, in some promotions and some rules, it would be like you get 2 of those or 1 of those.
See, that makes sense. I like the verisimilitude.
And then you build rules around them. But I mean, it is what it is. It's whatever. Much like the show, very whatever.
Yeah, it's very whatever.
I enjoyed it.
There was no fun like. Nobody knocked out the ref or like threw sand in anyone's eyes. Like
pocket sand or chairs.
Yeah, there were no like good twists or anything. It was just like competent matches.
It's just episode of Nitro.
Yeah, it's basically what it becomes is just TVs.
Yeah, I mean it's just very like it's 90 minutes of wrestling.
Get us to the pay-per-view.
Get us to the pay-per-view. It is what it is. This is the last call for clashes being special.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're
and
not
then
gonna...
at the end, Ric Flair's all mad at Arn Anderson
for losing
because he got clotheslined a half a second before him or whatever. Again, this is classic abusive behavior, just modeled on television for all these poor children.
These impressionable young males to watch and
listen. Ric Flair, he'd not attack me. He's not abusive. I fell down the stairs.
He only did it because he loves me.
Oh, but yeah, this is what it is. It was nice that it was 90 minutes. We might do a couple more of these clashes. This is really kind of fun, and also kind of goes along with a lot of other shows that we've discussed that are available in our archives. Like, go back and check out that Halloween Havoc one. Paige Van Tassel's on that one. She was fantastic. She's probably the reason why this podcast kept going. Because like this show could be pretty fucking awesome if we get someone like that. Much like this show has been awesome with Matt Barrentine. Also, too,
don't patronize me.
I will patronize you. Also, too, there was another show about this time. Oh, the Bash at the Beach episode was a lot of fun. I think Brian Penn was on
which would have turned it into a Baywatch episode also that we would have done.
Exactly. So we've gotten some good discussion out of 1995 WCW, and we need to get on some of the 2000s before Conrad Thompson covers it to death this year. So, a lot of fun that we did this. It's a nice little breezy thing. What are your thoughts overall, Matt, on the whole show? And then
I was pretty bored. I just like the story stuff. You know, there wasn't enough of it.
Yeah, this is like part B and C of it. You didn't get to see the A part. Right. You didn't get to see the finale of it. You're kind of this is like the M and the L, of the story. You haven't got the Z or XY or the end of it to hook you. It's just right in the middle because we're getting to the pay-per-view and all that stuff.
Right.
So, and Nitro's on its way.
The only other thing I wrote down was in this promo thing at the end. I thought it was funny that Hulk Hogan said, "What's your trip, man?" It just doesn't seem like something he would say. What's your trip, man?
Tune in, tune out.
Yeah, right?
To quote Timothy Leary, brother.
Turn off your mind, relax, and float downstream.
What's your favorite Dead song, Vader?
Riding this train.
The gym this morning, the Grateful Dead was on. I was like, I think I'm just going to leave. This workout's fucked up already. I'm out.
It is funny to think of, like, in-character wrestlers, like, just singing along to any song, really. Just loving the radio, but, like, doing the voice they do in promos.
Didn't somebody quote Jimi Hendrix or something like that in one of the things we discussed?
Yes. and it wasn't even like a popular Jimi Hendrix thing to say.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even like a popular song.
I think somebody mentioned that earlier in one of the promos, but fuck it, we ain't going back.
Yeah.
Because we're done.
Ain't no going back.
Ain't no going back. This episode is released this week, so Matt, if you know the next Mr. B screening coming
April
up.
18th. We're going to watch some movie. I can't tell you because I don't want to get sued.
Okay, all right. Is that what it is? Okay, so I thought it was more like you tried to it was more about a show thing because I was literally
both.
Okay, I was in the lobby telling them, we're going to talk about No Holds Barred.
Yeah, I tell everybody.
Yeah,
I just don't put it on posters because I don't want Warner Brothers or whoever to track me down.
Good call. But yeah, so give them your Twitter and stuff like that if they haven't got already.
Mr. Barrentine, MrBarrentine on Twitter. I yell about politics a lot. It's real fun.
I think a couple of people ended up following you because of this podcast. So
right on.
We got some new listeners, so get up.
I feel like we forgot to promote this and 10 Bell at the show the other night. We didn't even mention 10 Bell to all those wrestling people. I think several of those people in that crowd were
I think some of those people might have came because of this podcast already. Because some of those people are definitely people that follow me online, and they like every time I put out a graphic of this. So I think a lot of people that were wrestling fans are kind of aware of me and already know it's over here. So I think that this is pretty cool. So and thank you guys, everybody that's a listener to this podcast that came out to the show that I was on with Matt.
Write a fucking review. Is it so much to ask?
Yeah, write a fucking review. I will give you a free T-shirt. I will give you a free T-shirt, and you can even I don't even need to mail it to you.
3 to do other shit.
Yeah.
Just 2 minutes.
Write a mean review. Just give it 5 stars. Yeah. Give it 5 stars and be like, fuck these assholes.
We've had some reviews that only last like a line, so it's whatever. So just get out there. Yeah. But
type fart and give it 5 stars. That's it.
Zane, what do you got coming up?
All the same shit you do.
Okay.
This weekend we'll be at the Richmond Galaxy Con doing comic book wrestlings. Then I get back in time to leave for Barbados. Caleb Conley and I are going to go to Barbados and wrestle a little bit.
Is that going to happen?
It's happened. We got plane tickets. We're going to at least go to Barbados.
Well, you know what's really shitty?
You might get kidnapped there. But
yeah, I don't know.
You know what's really fucking shitty? While you're in Barbados, I'll be in West Virginia.
Hey, 2 sides of the same coin, brother.
What coin is that?
Yeah. It's Barbadian dollar.
Then the week after that, we'll be driving to Iowa for Wrestling Revolver. Then the week after that, we'll be going to Connecticut at a brewery show in Connecticut. And I'll be doing wrestling in Maine. And then also coming back down for NGW.
And then we get geared up for the worst time of the year.
WrestleCon. If you have not got your tickets to $5 Wrestling Choose Your Own Adventure, make sure you get them. By this time, I've already announced that Joey Ryan will be taking on Mr. Thunderbolt. And I have the Besties in the World book. I also have Sammy Callahan taking on Freight Train. I also have Ethan Page and Hornswoggle taking on Big and Little Donnie, and I will hopefully have somebody wrestling Raider Rock very soon, and nobody seems to be jumping on that. Also, too, I don't have anybody jumped on Jeff Hart yet, but hopefully by the time this podcast comes out, somebody has at least nibbled on the line and the bait that I have left. So we'll see. But what we did hear from and not see is the reviews from Smalls 704. You're sitting on top of the poll. You're the most recent one. Smalls, get up with me about getting you a T-shirt. I imagine it's small. I got plenty of Smalls to give you, but we will be doing your request for that 70 show episode with The Rock in it. Not next episode, obviously. The next episode we are going to be discussing Wrong Side of Town, which is the Rob Van Dam starring vehicle. Also, too, big thank you to Keaton's. I don't know if I've sent you a shirt yet for you leaving your review on Stitcher. But guys, we're not just on Apple Podcasts or Stitcher. We're also on Spotify right now. We're on SoundCloud. We're on YouTube. We are wherever podcasts are available. And guys, I can't thank you enough for joining us for another edition of How Did This Get Booked?
Woo!